Welcome back to another exciting episode of Cyber Defense TV. I'm your host, Gary Malewski, and the publisher of Cyber Defense Magazine. I am excited today to bring you Barbara Kay from ExtraHop, and she is the senior director, and she's a security expert. We're both CISSPs. She's going to tell you some really cool things about what ExtraHop does. Barbara, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, ExtraHop, you're in network visibility.
Well, we're in a category called network traffic analysis, and it's definitely about visibility. It's been about getting the truth that lives on the wire and getting it into your system so that you can find and get rid of things that you don't want, or even just understand and mitigate and harden your attack surface so you have less vulnerability out there for others to go after.
So as the packets and the payload and the protocols, and there's many of them
all those
flowing,
good things, yeah.
Do we have to go one ExtraHop through you, or are you passive?
We are an out-of-band device, so it's really good in many ways because, as network demand has increased in terms of bandwidth and expectation, a lot of people are struggling with scale. And if you put a man-in-the-middle appliance, not only do you jeopardize some of the security capabilities there, you also put a bottleneck in the system. So we actually take a tap or a span. We're out-of-band implementation, and that allows us to really concentrate all of capability that we have. When we scale to 100 gigs, we cover 2 petabytes of data a day. So we've got a lot of horsepower to apply to real-time processing of wire data.
What do you find in the wire data, and what do people do with that information?
So the layer 2 to layer 7 is a really huge wealth of information if you can get to it. And the kinds of things that we find, looking at layer 7 at the application layer, we're not just looking at the headers, we actually look inside the content payload, and there you can find things like the database data that has been exfiltrated. If someone's, the real problem that we're looking at is the east-west, and I think of it as south-north traffic, where you've got late-stage attack activities. The attacker's gotten in there, he's compromised his host, he's established a foothold, and he's having fun on your network, right?
Kind of like the OPM.gov breach.
Yeah.
And 6 months later, they realized the records were leaving the building, 22 million.
Yeah,
Would
exactly.
ExtraHop have helped our government?
Well, if you turn it on and you start monitoring, you start to have access to data that can help you figure that out. And I think in our case, we're trying to help people do more in real time. But you have metadata, you have lightweight metrics that you can store and retain, and have 30 days or 60 days or a year of look back. It's really up to you how much you choose to store. But I think the thing that is helpful is that you've got an accurate record of what's happened. You actually know what data was moved, right? So we had a customer who this is an edge case, don't promise this to everyone, but they were actually able to restore something that had been encrypted with ransomware because the data that was there was actually captured in our records. So we've got a lot more visibility because we're seeing more protocols, we're seeing more depth, and we're capturing a whole session.
Wait a second. You're saying they weren't doing backups, but because you were on the network, keeping an eye on everything, all that traffic pretty much allowed them to kind of reconstruct files because you had stored that off on SANs or some storage.
Yeah, well, and you think about it. Big companies out there fail to have a backup device, right? Fail to have something that's offline enough, right? And if everything's attached to the network and everything gets encrypted, you're not in a good place from a ransomware perspective. But that's just one example. I think
that's a cool example, though.
It is a cool example. And actually, we've got 2 great examples on our website with demos right now. And this is where it gets really exciting because a lot of people will tell you, hey, there's something going on. And usually it's like, and then what, right? Or so what, right? Is it important? Is it actionable? Should I do something now, right? So we take that information in the detection and surround it with context and insight that says, okay, here's why we flagged it. And it's normal human readable, like I can read it. And here's why we thought it was important. Here are the things you should investigate first. Here are links to the relationships that are out there. So it's really rich in the context you need to validate and decide what to do in terms of disposition.
It's really network intel. You have your own. Most people have no intelligence about what's happening on the network.
Especially east-west.
Exactly.
Very dark spot.
So you're giving us network intel, plain English, easy to understand, actionable results. Do you plug in a Seams or SIMS or SOAR or?
Yeah, all of the above. I was told A lot of what we do is REST API based, deliberately because we know we need to be a good partner with the other enterprise class products that are out there. And we see ourselves as an enterprise player. And, you may want to have fewer tools, right? Everyone's working to consolidate and see what they can unplug in order to plug something in. But it's definitely a must play well with others kind of environment. And we are very good with that. We have integrations with the major SIM players, with the major SOAR players, with firewalls for containment, and you can roll your own. It really is enterprise class.
So being enterprise class, I'm not going to get this as an SMB unless it's my MSSP or somebody else bigger. Yeah. But even the cable providers are going through what they call the digital transformation. Mm-hmm. They have so much traffic and so many issues to deal with, and they get infected all the time, and they're trying to offer services, the pipe to the business and the cloud. Yeah. Are you going to help in that side of the equation as well, or more on the, from the firewall inward?
Well, today we are definitely more geared towards enterprises who have on-prem, hybrid, and cloud implementations. MSSP is definitely a space where we see opportunity and value. Frankly, as we've looked at security operations centers, they've outsourced, they've pulled them back in, they've co-managed. So they're every incarnation of SOC out there, and we do have MSSP partners today who are using and offering us as part of their services. So in some ways, everybody's got a different value and a different requirement. I think that managed detection and response is certainly an area of growth, and it's an area where our unique data visibility, the speed to act, and the richness of the investigative evidence and forensic data, we really are a strong partner for a company like an MSSP.
That's great. And are there clients that don't want us to know who they are? Are there certain verticals you can share?
Oh, yeah. Well, no security customer will talk publicly for the most part. But yeah, our strongest verticals are not a big surprise, right? Healthcare is one of our very biggest, and that tends to be companies with sort of mid to larger size IT teams and security teams. Financial services and retail, those are the three biggest. We have one of the largest retailers. We have one of the largest financial services companies. Just people who need the scale and really value security are looking for more insight off the network. And that's why the network traffic analysis space is so hot right now.
Is it ExtraHop.com?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And on your site at ExtraHop.com, am I going to find data sheets, white papers, videos, all the info I need?
Mm-hmm. And the live attack demo and the database exfil demo are pretty cool. And I've had customers and prospects tell us that there's more information on our site. We're more ready to share and willing to share than most of the people out there, because the UI, the user experience is pretty cool.
That's cool. How long does it take to deploy ExtraHop?
So it can take hours to longer. It depends how much you want to customize, right? Generally, we try to make it very turnkey in terms of small, medium, large, good, better, best kind of suites. But we've had folks who've deployed it themselves in a few hours, and we also have professional services and partners who can help you if you want to create custom alerts, right? We can help you match what you're monitoring and what you're tracking to your needs if you choose.
So you're in the hot seat. I have to come up with some hot seat question. I'm always trying to stump the guest.
I'm wearing pink.
Yeah, I know. Can never stump the guest. Here we go, Barbara. Modbus over TCP/IP, SCADA, ICS. The HVAC got hacked at one retailer. I think it was Target. Mm-hmm. Can you keep an eye on all that stuff too?
Well, we do have Modbus. As a protocol, that's something that's important as well for OT. But
you're in the OT space too.
Well, we have to support the devices that are out there, and device visibility, user visibility, understanding what's really happening is a critical aspect to having access to the context to make the right decision about investigations.
That's great. So complete network visibility and a better understanding about the risks that I have in real time on I'll call it my intranet or my corporate network. And it may be a campus, it may be multiple sites and locations, and you can be a part of all that. You have a single pane of glass or a dashboard that I can get at, even if I'm deploying ExtraHop in 5, 10, 20 places.
Yeah, of course. And we also give you cloud visibility, right? So you can have the same visibility on-prem that you have in the cloud. And, people are trying to make sure that they don't buy a whole duplicate set of cloud stuff, and having that ubiquitous visibility it's been a kind of nirvana state for a while, but we can help with that because
including shadow IT?
Well, because you can see what's really being used, right? With our virtual tap from Azure, you can actually, we map into Security Center, we map into the metrics that they are able to share, and you can really see what's happening, not what some log said that they thought they needed to share with you.
Wow, that's awesome. And you scale.
And we scale.
Scale big.
Scale big, and we are very fast. I think, we've talked about getting to real time or near real time or getting there. We are about as close as I think you can be.
It was a great hot seat interview. I learned a lot about ExtraHop today. Really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, so thank you. And what we're going to do is send our viewers and our listeners to www.extrahop.com. You're going to learn a lot about this great company, and then come back next time for an exciting episode of Cyber Defense TV. Thank you.